went down backstage has sent shockwaves through WWE. This isn't rumor. This isn't speculation. This is chaos, and it all started the second Seth Rollins' so-called vision betrayed him on live television. What followed wasn't just betrayal, it was a declaration of war. Reports have confirmed that Dean Ambrose reached out directly with a message aimed straight at Paul Heyman, and trust me, it's not the kind of message you ignore. Let's rewind a bit, because this story didn't start tonight, it's been brewing for years. After Seth Rollins was blindsided by his own faction, the Vision, WWE cameras cut away. The betrayal was violent, humiliating, and symbolic. The man who prided himself on being the architect watched his blueprint crumble in seconds. But the chaos didn't end there. According to multiple sources backstage, Seth was taken to the trainer's room, surrounded by medics and producers, and that's when the unexpected happened. A private video message was delivered to him, sent from an unmarked number, with a single caption, "Told you, brother. The system always eats its own." D.A. That's right. Dean Ambrose. Now let that sink in for a second. Ambrose hasn't been seen in WWE since walking out years ago, rejecting the politics, the scripts, the machine itself. He became John Moxley, the rebel, the wild card, the storm that no one could control. And yet, here he was again, not stepping back into the ring, but stepping right into the story. The message was short, brutal, symbolic. And from what insiders are saying, it wasn't just for Seth, it was for Paul Heyman. Because according to Ambrose, Heyman is the true manipulator behind the Vision's betrayal. Let me explain. Heyman has always operated like a chess player. Every move, every alliance, every betrayal, all calculated. He doesn't act for loyalty, he acts for power. And when Seth Rollins started building the Vision, a group meant to reshape WWE's future, Heyman saw opportunity. At first, it looked like admiration. Heyman publicly praised Rollins' leadership, calling him a generational mind in motion. But those close to Rollins say Heyman had been quietly influencing the Vision's direction behind the scenes, whispering, planting seeds, turning soldiers into snakes. And tonight? The snake struck. Seth's own creation tore him apart, and the irony? That's exactly what Heyman wanted. Because now, in the ashes of the Vision, there's room for something new. Something molded in Heyman's image. But Ambrose saw it coming. He's been vocal for years about how Heyman manipulates great men, how he feeds their ego, fuels their rebellion, then watches them burn. It's what he did with CM Punk. It's what he did with Brock Lesnar. And now, it's what he's doing to Seth Rollins. So Ambrose sent his message. And that message wasn't just words, it was a warning. Sources close to creative claim that Ambrose's message sent the entire locker room buzzing. Producers were shocked. Some even said that Heyman, upon hearing about the message, smirked and replied, "Tell him I already know where he is." That right there sends chills. Because if Heyman knows where Ambrose is, that means something huge is about to unfold. And don't forget, Ambrose has unfinished business not only with Seth, but with Roman too. The Shield's legacy has always been tied to betrayal, brotherhood, and revenge. And if Ambrose is now targeting Heyman, he's not doing it randomly, he's going straight for the heart of what poisoned the Shield in the first place. Backstage sources say Seth was furious when he saw Ambrose's message. He reportedly yelled, "You don't get to act like you care now," before smashing a chair against the wall. But underneath the anger, there's confusion, because deep down, Seth knows Ambrose might be right. Rollins built his Vision the same way the Shield was built, on loyalty, purpose, and dominance. And both times, that loyalty got shattered. Here's the crazy part: Seth's betrayal might have been orchestrated months ago. Remember when the Vision started cutting promos about purging weakness and eliminating corruption within the company? Those words sounded like Rollins, but they weren't. Those phrases were Heyman's. Word for word, echoes of what he said back in ECW, years ago, when he convinced men to destroy their mentors to become free. So, when Ambrose sent that message, he wasn't just calling out Heyman, he was exposing the playbook. Now, let's talk about what Ambrose's next move could be, because according to sources in AEW and WWE shared circles, Ambrose's team has not denied the rumors of his involvement in a crossover story. That means there's a real possibility he could appear, not physically in WWE, but via promos, calls, or viral clips that blur the line between reality and storyline. Think about it: the man who burned WWE to the ground years ago now returns not as a wrestler, but as a ghost haunting the empire from the outside. Imagine this scenario: next Monday, Seth is in the ring, broken and furious, calling out the Vision for betrayal. He's mid-speech when the Titantron flickers. A grainy, black and white video plays Dean Ambrose, in a dark room, his voice low and sharp: "You built a Vision, Seth, but you forgot who wrote the blueprints." Boom. Internet explodes. Fans lose it. And Paul Heyman? He finally looks nervous. Because here's what's really happening: Ambrose isn't just trying to save Seth, he's trying to destroy Heyman's influence once and for all. Insiders are calling this a potential Shield reckoning. If Ambrose's words push Seth into a corner, it could reignite something WWE has avoided for years: a direct confrontation between the ghosts of the Shield and the Empire that replaced them. Heyman's response, however, might come faster than anyone expects. Reports suggest he's been seen backstage making calls to Roman Reigns' camp, yes, Roman himself, possibly to ensure that Ambrose never gets the platform he wants. But here's where it gets complicated. Roman and Seth may be on different paths, but there's still respect. Roman once said, "No one understands me like Seth or Dean." If Heyman tries to manipulate Roman into turning his back completely, it could backfire spectacularly. Because if Ambrose truly wants to send a message and that message includes warning Roman, then Heyman could find himself surrounded by the very men he once helped build. And let's be honest, there's a certain poetic justice to that. Paul Heyman, the puppet master, being hunted by his own creations. Meanwhile, reports from insiders say Ambrose's message wasn't the only thing that arrived that night. A mysterious black envelope was reportedly left in Heyman's office with a single item inside: an old, cracked Shield dog tag and a note that read, "The ghosts are watching." Security footage didn't show who left it. No fingerprints. No cameras caught the drop. Just that one haunting clue. Now, if you know Ambrose, that's exactly his style: subtle, psychological, but always personal. He doesn't just fight people, he dismantles their sanity. So if that message was from him, Heyman's in deep trouble. Because this isn't about titles or brands anymore, it's about unfinished business. About loyalty twisted into weaponry. About three men whose brotherhood became a curse. The Shield story was supposed to end years ago, but now, with Seth's vision collapsing, Roman on the edge of empire, and Ambrose lurking in the shadows, it's all starting again. The question is, who's writing the ending this time? Some say Ambrose is the chaos. Others say he's the cure. But one thing is certain: Paul Heyman has finally crossed the wrong ghost. And if history has taught us anything, it's that Dean Ambrose doesn't warn twice. Because the aftermath of Seth Rollins' betrayal by his own vision has spiraled far beyond what anyone expected. And now, the war between the ghosts of the Shield and Paul Heyman's empire is beginning to feel inevitable. Let's start where last week ended. Paul Heyman reportedly walked into Raw's production office early Monday morning, his usual calm demeanor replaced by something cold and calculated. He wasn't rattled, he was planning. He had the Shield's dog tag from that mysterious envelope in his hand. When asked if it was real, Heyman just said, "Everything that happens in this business is real if I decide it is." That line right there? That's pure Heyman. A master manipulator trying to spin the chaos into control. But control is exactly what he's losing. Because Dean Ambrose's message didn't just target Heyman, it reignited Seth Rollins' fire. Sources backstage confirmed that Seth refused medical treatment during Raw's taping. He was seen pacing in the hallway, muttering to himself. He knew this was coming. Those who saw him said he looked broken, but his eyes? Cold. Focused. He wasn't just angry at the vision. He was angry at Heyman and at himself for letting it happen. When Seth went out for his segment that night, fans expected a meltdown. Instead, they got silence. Rollins stood in the ring, microphone in hand, staring down the hard camera. Then, in a low voice, he said, "You think you can use me like one of your soldiers, Paul? You think you can turn my family into your army? I've already seen that movie and it doesn't end well for you." That line hit like a nuke. Because Rollins didn't just threaten Heyman, he invoked the memory of the Shield. He made it clear that this betrayal wasn't just business, it was personal history repeating itself. The crowd erupted, chanting Moxley. Moxley. And for the first time in years, Seth didn't silence it. He nodded. Almost approvingly. And then something even crazier happened. Right as Seth dropped the mic and started to leave the ring, the lights flickered. The screen went black. A single line of text appeared on the Titantron: "You're not alone." No music. No video. Just white letters on a dark screen and then static. Security scrambled, production panicked. But the fans? They knew exactly what it meant. Dean Ambrose wasn't done. Reports later confirmed that Heyman immediately left the building after that segment. Witnesses saw him on the phone, pacing furiously, repeating, "He's playing mind games. He's not coming back. He's not." But deep down, even Heyman knew Dean Ambrose doesn't play games unless he's already 2 steps ahead. Here's where things explode. WWE insiders have confirmed that Ambrose's message has escalated into a cross-company story. AEW's social media team reportedly received a cease and desist warning from WWE after Moxley, Dean Ambrose, posted a cryptic tweet that read, "You can't betray what's already broken." The timing of that tweet? Exactly 5 minutes after Raw ended. Coincidence? Not a chance. So now, fans are split. Some believe Ambrose is building toward a video appearance or crossover promo. Others think WWE and AEW are quietly coordinating the most ambitious storyline twist in modern wrestling history, a storyline that breaks the forbidden door completely open. And at the center of it all is one man, Paul Heyman. Heyman's empire is collapsing from every angle. The bloodline is unstable, Roman's appearances are sporadic, and now, his credibility as the ultimate manipulator is being dismantled by ghosts from his past. And if you think Heyman's just sitting quietly, think again. Because according to exclusive backstage leaks, Heyman has been trying to recruit Braun Breaker and Solo Sikoa into his new insurance policy, a brutal alliance meant to eliminate Seth Rollins permanently before Ambrose makes his next move. One source even said Heyman was heard saying, "You can't haunt me if I erase the evidence." Translation? He's going to try and destroy Rollins before Ambrose can get to him. But Seth isn't running anymore. This week on SmackDown, Rollins walked out in a leather jacket, no flashy gear, no pyro, no smile. He looked into the camera and said, "Paul Heyman thinks he's the mastermind. But the thing about masterminds, they forget what happens when their puppets learn how to cut strings." He dropped the mic, walked away, and left the arena before the next segment. No music. No words. Just silence. That silence said everything. But the real moment came after the show. Cameras didn't catch this on air, but fan footage leaked online showed Seth walking backstage when a production monitor flickered again. A distorted voice came through, scratchy, mechanical, but clear enough to recognize, "You're doing good, brother. Keep them scared." That voice. Dean Ambrose. Seth froze, staring at the monitor. The message lasted 5 seconds and then the screen went black. He smiled. Just a small, knowing smirk. And then he whispered, "It's time." That's when the entire locker room realized this isn't just about revenge anymore. It's about revolution. Because Dean Ambrose isn't coming back to play hero. He's coming back to burn the system down again, only this time, he's not doing it alone. The Shield's legacy has been broken for years, but this feels like resurrection through destruction. Roman holds the throne. Seth holds the fire. And Ambrose? He holds the match. The tension has never been higher. Heyman's allies are shaken. The vision is fractured. And there's a growing belief that the Shield's ghosts will reunite one last time, not to dominate, but to bury the machine that betrayed them all. WWE officials are terrified. If Ambrose's presence continues to bleed into WWE programming, it could blur the lines of corporate control and fan expectation forever. But that's exactly what Ambrose wants: chaos. And Paul Heyman knows that. That's why, according to recent reports, he's requested enhanced on-air security for the next few shows. The same man who managed Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, two of the most dominant forces in modern wrestling, is now afraid of a man who hasn't even stepped into the building. That's the power of Dean Ambrose. And make no mistake, this is far from over. Because word is spreading that the next message has already been sent. A mysterious package reportedly arrived at WWE headquarters labeled "From Lunatic." Inside? A single baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire, and a note that read, "If you're going to play God, Paul, make sure you survive Judgment Day." That's the kind of message you don't ignore. And with Survivor Series approaching, fans are convinced this is leading to something massive, maybe even the unthinkable: Ambrose appearing, by name or face, to confront Heyman in the ultimate psychological showdown. But whether it's through a promo, a video drop, or a single chilling line, one thing's clear: Dean Ambrose has returned to the story he started. The Shield's ghost is back. Heyman's empire is cracking. And Seth Rollins? He's no longer a visionary. He's a weapon. So buckle up, wrestling world, because the message has been sent, the warning has been given, and the reckoning is closer than anyone realizes. Dean Ambrose doesn't bluff. He doesn't warn twice. And this time, he's not coming to save anyone. He's coming to end it.